Now, it's time for the Neighborhood Connection, sponsored by The Wall.
Hey guys, a few weeks ago we talked about how to repair a driveway, but that was asphalt. We didn't even touch on concrete. So today we had a great question that's about how to fix concrete. And something, there's a lot of different answers to that. If you've got a foundation crack, let's say it's in the, something that's structural, maybe it's a retaining wall, something like this, there's some solutions for you. First, always check with that structural engineer to make sure you don't have a bigger problem. But we can actually use carbon fiber to fix this. And what carbon fiber is it's really cool carbon fiber fabric that we're going to actually embed in epoxy, and it'll actually make it stronger than what the concrete is before that crack. So let me show you how that works. So there's this fabric that is really strong, and that's the cool part of this stuff. And I always wear gloves with this stuff because this epoxy is meant to hold a house together. And so what I'll do is come in like this, clean this crack out a little bit, and then this two-part epoxy goes in, and it mixes in this tube right here. And I'm going to fill this crack up first. This stuff just comes out like honey. And then I'm going to embed this piece all over this with this carbon fiber. And then once this dries, you have a super, super strong repair right here. And so then what we're going to do is embed this carbon fiber in. And I'll sometimes use a trowel or something if I have a big piece of this. But for just doing our little demonstration here, we're going to embed this all in the epoxy. And we will spread this out here. And then this will be stronger than the concrete around it. Now you got to give a few hours for this to dry, and make sure you don't get it wet or anything like that. And if you want this to look really good afterwards, just paint it with a concrete paint and you're going to be good to go. Now, if you've got that little tiny driveway crack, this is what's cool with this, is there's a new product out here made by DAP. And the problem is that we've had with concrete repairs is that when we use the caulking type stuff, it just looks like a really bad concrete repair. But this new product here, we actually come out in a powder, and we put the powder right in the crack here, which makes it so easy to use because we're not making a huge mess right off the bat. And this will actually cover up to a 1/2 inch crack, so that's a pretty good size. Come in here, we're gonna spread this out. You can use a trowel or whatever you want. And now that I've got that there, we're gonna come in here with our spray bottle with a little bit of water, and we're gonna wet it down. And that's going to activate this. Now I'll get that just a little more spread out right there. And you're going to have a very inconspicuous crack in your driveway. And the reason why you want to repair this like this anyway is the water is going to get down in there and undermine that, which leads to more cracks. This is a simple solution that anybody can tackle on their driveway and make it look good all at the same time. Now let's switch the gears a bit. We got a great question on our Facebook page about an exterior light that doesn't work. I had one at my house, so let's take a look how to fix it. Have you ever had one of those exterior lights that just quit working on you? I'm gonna show you how to replace one here because that's exactly what's happened at my place. This one here, the motion sensor and everything quit working, and guess what? It's gonna go in the trash, but it's really easy to fix. First thing we gotta do is turn off the power. That's the most important thing we start with. Let me go do that. All right, I got the power off. I'm gonna take this out so I can double check with my tester and make sure that we actually have the power off. So first thing, let's get this junk light out of here so we can get it out of the way. Sometimes it's easier if you support the light fixture. That was the trick. Let's get out our handy tester here. Make sure that we got everything. We are 100% off. Okay, so we have a little black wire here, neutral there, and there wasn't even a ground on that old beast. All right, All right, so we got that out of the way. This is just a standard $20 light fixture, nothing special, no sensors, no nothing, because I need it to dim with the rest of my lights. If you put a sensor on one of those dimming switches, it'll never work. So that'll be a problem. So we have our fixture, we've got our gasket, our instructions. All right, let's start with the gasket here first. I want this to seal this up in case we get any water, rain, that kind of stuff in here. I'm gonna put it right there so I can remember to put that away. Then I've got the screws and the nuts in here. All right, so real basic fixture. Let's get these. I like it when they pre-strip them. That's always a nice little thing. Saves me one more step. So let's take a look here. So we have our neutral, our ground. That light didn't have a ground, so I'm kind of happy about that. We've got our hot, neutral, and our ground. Our hot. There we go. So now we're just gonna start putting wire nuts together. Now here's the thing, when in doubt, hire that electrician. It's a pretty easy DIY project, but if you're not comfortable, listen to that and call the pro. All right, our last one here is the ground, and we wanna make sure we get that connected. That way nobody ever gets hurt on this thing. So far pretty easy. Now, time to button this thing up. We're gonna wanna get that gasket up here and then just carefully fold the wires in. They're all nice and tight. I've already tested those. Let's get them all nice in their little homes here. I always like keeping the black hot wires off by themselves over there in the box. The gasket's gonna sit like that. Just kind of gently fold the wires in there. And now there's these little dimples on the gasket. I'm gonna make sure here and get our screw holes lined up, which are there and there. Always a little hard getting through that gasket and getting that in there, but that went pretty easy. The cool thing is they'll spin a little bit. Now I've got these light bulbs here. I went for LED for the energy efficiency, and then I want a dimmable as well. So these are gonna crank out a lot of light and do what I want as far as the dimming circuit goes. So let's get these stuck in here. These are really heavy duty. I like the feel of these because they feel like an incandescent bulb. So they have that kind of strength where the old ones really felt plasticky. They did a nice job with these. All right, our last step, let's turn the power on and see if these things work. That's the last thing to do. For 30 bucks and about 20 minutes, that's an easy project I know you can tackle at home. If you've got a question you'd like me to answer on the show, scan the QR code on the screen now, and you may even make it on a future edition of Around the House Northwest. Coming up next, we'll talk about waterproofing your shower with Weedy.
Around the House Northwest is sponsored by I-5 Exteriors, family owned, and providing service from Salem to Tacoma for all your roofing needs. And Kitchens and More Northwest, building your custom cabinet dreams into reality since 1989.